All right, thank you. Alongside Pierre, LeBrun, and Chris Johnston. Supernova at the Stanley Cup Final. Connor McDavid just blowing the doors off the last couple of games. It's all that anybody was talking about, well, basically since then, including some other stars from around the National Hockey League, Pierre.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. Listen, every player around the league has talked to us the last couple of days about Connor McDavid. And sometimes when you do this kind of story, which we did for The Athletic, guys are like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to take a pass. I don't have a lot to say. It was wild, the reaction that CG and I got to this story that we did on Connor McDavid. The reactions from guys like Sidney Crosby, Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Toews, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, about number 97 elevating his play on the biggest stage in a way that few players have ever done in the history of this game. That was unreal. And the last thing I would say, Steven Stamkos saying that last summer when he worked out with McDavid was picking his brain about winning 2 cups and what it took.
And how about Jonathan Toews saying he finds himself rooting for Connor McDavid, just the way he's been able to play. Stamkos saying if anyone can bring him back from 03, it's McDavid. You know, Crosby said that he's somehow found another level. That's what he's seeing. He's been over in Europe, but watching the highlights of what's going on back here, and you know, really not just getting our attention, obviously the attention of some of the world's best players.
What speaks to me from that article, you guys, is the willingness of these players to go on the record doing this. I think that speaks a lot to the respect that he has among his peers as well for the person that he is. Because I don't know that everybody would do that for just anyone, Pierre.
I agree, and that's always the fine line when you try to seek out that kind of opinion, is how comfortable are they going to be pumping another guy's tires, not to use a line from an old Stanley Cup Final from 2011, but that's what we're talking about. And you know, the competitive edge that these guys have on each other. Well, there was another player this morning that did it in Nick Cousins. We asked him about what he saw in this Stanley Cup Final so far, and what did he say, Ryan? He said, seeing Connor McDavid elevate his play. I mean, this is Nick Cousins. You know what he wants to do. He's on the ice tonight, but that's the respect factor.
Okay, Nick, not Kirk Cousins, coming into the Florida Panthers lineup tonight. Paul Maurice with some tweaks. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson will run the power play from the point. That's one tweak. The other is Cousins coming in. So over a couple of games here, you've got Lombard coming in. You've got Cousins coming in. Pretty clear the element they're trying to add here, Pierre. This is a player with some pedigree.
Well, you know, it's kind of a big story in that market in Florida that Nick Cousins has not been part of this team since May 26, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final. This is a guy that knocked out the Toronto Maple Leafs in overtime in the second round last year. He's had some big playoff moments. He's been irregular, but as Paul Maurice said, they went out and traded for Tarasenko and Kalaposo at the trade deadline. They've got a lot of depth, and Nick Cousins found himself on the outside looking in after they won 6 games in a row. But now he's back, and he's pretty excited.
Well, and obviously the Panthers would take another big goal from him if he's got it on his stick, but he's really in the lineup to agitate, to be a pain in the side of the Edmonton Oilers. And I think there's a fine line there for Florida. The Oilers' power play has woken up here in the last couple of games with 3 goals. And so obviously when you add a Longberg and a Cousins and you're looking to be a pain in the butt, you don't want to cross the line, because Edmonton has got that game, part of their game going, and that's been a separator for them in those 2 wins.
The energy in this building tonight is going to be something else. So the Oilers, you would think, can ingest it, feed off of it. I talked to Dylan Holloway today. He said, we can hear the crowd before we're even in the tunnel. He said it's nuts in that room when they're making their way out. So big advantage for the Oilers in a lot of ways, but the Florida Panthers have to find a way to channel it properly, Pierre, get themselves in the proper headspace to not have the here we go again thing happening. What did you sense from them today and maybe over the last 48 hours?
So for what it's worth, reading the body language, watching their morning skate, this is probably as comfortable as I've seen the Panthers since they went up 3-0 in this series. They're not as tight as they looked heading into Game 5, after Game 5. This is all business. And, last time they were in Edmonton, they chartered an entire plane of friends and family to get ready for the Cup celebration. The team told me today they have not done that. Now, of course, there are friends and family that have made their way. But what it tells me is, from talking to people, the Panthers organization, they're all business. And they're in a good place. They're calm. They believe they're still in a great place to win the Cup.
Well, the Oilers dragged them back here. And I'll say this about Edmonton. All the years I've covered this league, I've never seen a team so comfortable when they were in a hole in this series. Honestly, I just feel like nothing has changed in their game, their approach. I think it's allowed them to play well under some duress, and I don't expect any different from them. I mean, Game 5 for me was the best game of the series, just 2 teams going at it. I hope we get an even better one tonight, because certainly the atmosphere is going to be there. Let's hope it lives up to the billing.
A lot of people were saying if the Oilers can win that oh-so-difficult game in Game 5 in Florida. This thing's going 7, right? A lot of people felt like this game back here in Edmonton would kind of be fait accompli.
Watch out.
Watch out. I'm not so sure. The Florida Panthers are going to put on a massive push tonight. Can Leon Draisaitl find another level? Can the Edmonton Oilers find another level? Can they be the ones that dictate play tonight? It's going to be amazing to watch Game 6 here in Edmonton.